Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Thinking Podcast. I'm here again today with Joe.
Hello, hi there.
Hello. I was thinking we were talking about like questions we could, or things we could, topics we could cover on this podcast. Just before we started rolling, and one of the common questions I get from friends, family, other people who are kind of less technical in our lives, I think is like, what do you actually do? And why does what you do help businesses do what they do? What's the connection between me building a pipeline and doing some SQL queries over here, which, by the way, they don't understand at all, and I have to kind of explain what those things are. What does the connection of doing that have to do with a business making more money or spending less money? Or being able to, like, why does that help?
I think the best way, a similar, because I've also had this question before. It's like, how does my friend or my partner or my mum, whoever, explain to their parents, what do I do? How much context do I have to give to someone else to explain to their parents what I do?
Yeah, and I think all of us in this industry we are probably the main technical person in our families of non-technical people, right? So like if they've got a problem with their computer, most of the time people will come to me. It's slightly different in my case because I've been building them and doing all kinds of other things with them, and I can actually do tech support. But most people are like, I don't know, I can do SQL queries. I couldn't fix a hard drive or something.
When I'm not that sort of engineer.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what I mean. Like it's different, right? So yeah, I mean, where do you usually start trying to explain this?
I say that what I do as my work is I usually explain that as a consultant, businesses will come to me and
they'll come to us, our company.
Yeah, they come to me directly. They come to us as a company and they basically ask in a way to improve business value. There's usually a metric or some sort of information that they are not getting at the moment.
The first question we have to ask is, what do you mean by that?
Exactly. But that's the thing, they come to us and they ask these sort of questions like, I want to get this sort of information out. I'd like to usually migrate or do something like this in order to get this bit of information. How do I get this information so that I can present it to stakeholder so that I can show good report? Yeah, that's the crux of it, really, isn't it?
And a lot of it is being able to make better business decisions. And what we mean by that is, a CEO, a financial officer somewhere, someone who has the power to make the company do things or take actions about spending within the company, wants to be able to make better decisions. If something wasn't profitable last year, okay, well, we either don't do that this year, or we need to put money into it to improve the profitability.
Help me prove why this isn't profitable.
Yeah, exactly. And to do that, they need information.
Exactly.
And in our case, we convert data into information by getting the data from somewhere, doing some magic to it, and then giving to them as useful information that they can make decisions on.
Basically, the common definition is that information is data with context.
Right, exactly.
But we just give all the context they could possibly need, and then they can show that in a dashboard, a front end, where all the less technical people can view it and then make business decisions.
Yeah. Now, inevitably, some of the less technical people are going to point an Excel spreadsheet at your mart or your dashboard.
That's a new source of information.
Yeah, and then perform all kinds of pivots on it, and now you've got a whole load of new business rules that you need to program in, which inevitably they'll, in some cases they'll ignore and just use that spreadsheet anyway, and that's where we get, into the kind of some of the.
That's culture and workflow.
Yeah. It's the thing that I really like to talk about in this area is any project, including transformations, especially transformations, is the triangle of the people, process, and technology.
Yeah.
Right. For something to happen and for significant change to make place, it will impact all three of those in some way. Right. It's people need to change their ways of working, potentially by using a different tool to assist their ways of working. That's the technology.
Yeah.
And the ways of working on the process. But it's the people doing a thing with a piece of technology. So it could be, they're starting to use Snowflake instead of their on-prem Postgres, or maybe they're going from completely no automation at all. They've just got a spreadsheet for everything, and they're moving to Snowflake, or now they're using to a database because previously they didn't have it. Everyone's in a different stage of their data journey, as I like to call it, and there will be a different maturity. Some of them will be already on Snowflake and they want to move to Databricks for whatever reason, or there's all kinds of different stages all these businesses are in.
It's like you said as well. No, you mentioned Excel spreadsheets before as well. People will have they might have a warehouse or some sort of lake structure, whatever, in place, but they previously just been grabbing stuff from Excel, and it's been a wild west of how things all work. So it's just formalizing, like you said earlier, business rules, so that there is just whether it be Power BI, Tableau, any other sort of dashboarding, put it all into there, and it's much more formal process rather than grab a data grab.
Yeah, I mean, let me play the family member who's non-technical. What's a business rule, Joe?
A business rule is essentially, it's a transformation that you expect as part of the business that turns your raw data into something that you can understand as a stakeholder or as part of the higher level in the business. That is a useful reporting metric.
Yeah. So you might, even something simple as multiplying a number by something else to make it, cover it for a year rather than a month. Or
an even simpler one, I would say, a business rule is going from the conversion from dollar to pounds.
That is one of the most simple business rules I can think of, but it's technically a business rule because one part of the business needs it in a different currency. That is a business process that needs to happen, and it's usually a one-liner.
Yeah.
Unless you might be looking it up from a table or something.
But you've also got a history of those conversions as well. So you'll need to have a history of all the conversion rates on a day.
And suddenly you've got a historized table, and now it gets a little bit more complex.
It gets more complex, but the crux is like you said, it's just I multiply this number by this other number. That's a business rule.
Yeah.
I filter this data down to this data. Business rule. Yeah. It can be really simple.
And to do that in a robust way, we need to document that. We need to test it. We need to ensure that the users know that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's why we get glossaries and catalogs and automated testing and a pipeline to deliver that data automatically. And this is where I start losing most of my friends and family.
Lose them? Where have they gone?
But one thing that seems very simple on the surface to the naive person, I'm not saying naive in a negative way, just a person who doesn't know any better.
Someone who's not in this field.
Exactly. It seems very simple on the surface.
Yeah.
But actually, there's a lot more to it to get it robust, efficient, delivered on time, all that kind of stuff.
I think the actually more interesting way of looking at this is, and it's sort of a slide aside, is how do I explain my job and make it sound exciting?
Right, yeah. Some of that could seem very mundane.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm basically making it so you don't have to use a spreadsheet. Yay. Yeah. But there's more of that.
Your cousin's going to space. No, it's like, I don't know how to explain what to do in an exciting manner, but I will just, unless I do it with, enthusiasm. But it's the idea is that lots of people don't have exciting jobs, but it's the way you look at it, and you can explain things like, I get enjoyment out of doing this and analyzing data. Because what I usually say is I do a lot of data analysis on big data sets that I've not seen before in different fields, whether that be finance, that be sort of more HR based stuff. It could be any sort of field. And then going on to make decisions about how this will all look as a structure, and how that people can report their data, they can structure their data in different ways, what their key concepts are, how they can group things together to make more meaningful decisions.
No, exactly. I personally, I find a lot of fulfillment in that, because I'm genuinely making an impact for a business to do their work better and to, save costs, and ultimately, the hope is we make it easier for the people to do their jobs.
Exactly.
And especially when it comes to non-profits.
Yeah.
We can have a genuine impact on, our small part of the world.
Yeah.
Or their part of the world that they are managing, by helping them make better decisions that have impact on people.
I've done work in like the education sector, and I've done work with non-profit organizations as well. And it is, whilst I end up doing roughly the same work, it's very fulfilling to just know that I am helping the world in a different way, in a very abstracted sort of, not direct sort of newsworthy way, but I'm still helping people. I'm helping people to improve their lives, make their lives easier, and that's quite fulfilling in its own way.
Exactly. The way I like to explain it to people is someone somewhere, whether it be they put something on a website, they got some stats through to a CEO's dashboard. There will always be a developer or a team of developers in every organization that has developed something behind the scenes that they may not get direct appreciation from the public for, but they've made a difference in the world or the way that company operates for the better. And I think that's very cool.
It's crazy the amount of money really that you do work with that you don't really see directly, but you're impacting like in the millions and the billions.
Exactly. If you write a query wrong, or if you have a pipeline, deploy the data twice, and mess up a calculation somewhere, you could make an impact for the worse as well.
You could, but that never happens.
No,
I'm amazing.
Oh well, of course. And we have testing and documentation and all the things I mentioned earlier to make sure that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Ironically, we did just record an episode about the biggest mistake we've made, and that But anyway, that's a separate point. It's a very vast industry. There, as a data engineer or data analyst, in the data industry, there are hundreds, if not at least tens, of different job roles and different areas in the process that you can be. You can be project manager, you can be data analyst, you can be the business analyst, you can be you can be a tester, you can just do the dashboard bit, you could be the pipeline infrastructure guy, you could be the security guy.
Everyone plays a role, however sort of macro it may or may not be. And everything's quite important, but it is difficult to explain. And so I think it's good to have that appreciation for what people actually do. But I still think at the end of the day, talking to my mum, what do I actually do? I analyze data, and that then goes forward to someone else to make a pretty dashboard.
I mean, I've explained it to because I take a lot of Ubers because I miss the bus quite frequently.
Do you have lots of Uber driver conversations?
I have a lot of Uber driver conversations.
Oh my God.
Inevitably, they say, "Hey, what's your job?" And I always start with, "That's a really difficult one to explain simply." And not in a condescending way, because I know it's very likely they're not going to understand if I start talking technical.
The first one, do you really care, or are you just making conversation?
Right, exactly. And the first thing I say is usually, that's really difficult. My official title is senior data engineer and or product manager.
Mm-hmm.
And what that basically means is I'm a consultant, and I go into companies, and I go into companies and I help them make use of their data to make better decisions and hopefully save them money. And that's what I say.
Yeah. And how do they respond?
And they go, "Oh, that's cool. I've got a guy in IT."
Oh, right.
My son's in IT, and I'm like, "What does he do?" And he's like, "Oh, he administers the Microsoft Azure. He onboards people." I'm like, It's not quite what I do. That's very different.
He's the security guy.
He's the security guy.
The guy we need to appreciate,
right?
Despite how much trouble security causes.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I mean, this is another point. My biggest pet peeve is when people go, "Oh, you're in IT." I'm like, I mean, technically yes, but IT is such a wide, vast universe.
I'm in finance.
It feels, I don't know, maybe it's just me being a snob, but it feels very blasé. Just go, "I'm in IT." Like, I feel like what we do is so much more than that.
It is, but you've also got to remember it's sometimes it's better to just say, "Yes, I do work in IT," and then just explain you'll narrow it down eventually.
Yeah, no, I do understand that. I'm kind of tongue in cheek a bit, but yeah, I feel like it's simplifying it way too much.
Yeah. But then again, it depends on your Uber drivers.
This is fine. This is why I say this is fine.
This is fine.
This is fair. This is a good point. Yes.
Yeah. If you've got like a half an hour drive, maybe you could explain your job. If it's just I'm feeling extra lazy, can you take me to Sainsbury's, please? Yeah, no, they're not going to have time for that. I feel like we've come to a nice natural.
Yeah. Any final words on that one?
I hope Gregory's the baker is really good. I have no context. I've never been to Greece like that, so I hope to maybe one go and experience it.
Yep, cool, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one.